Here we have the hero of the post office scandal, Alan Bates, who has been talking to the Commons, and his comment is about the thugs in suits, the people running the post office, not just when he was basically booted out, but currently they've still got some of the same people in the middle management, which is amazing. So we can see a little clip of him talking.
When there were discussions between the retail manager and myself, when we were heading in this direction, he was saying, come on, Alan, change your mind, do this, do that, and all the rest of it. And I'm saying, look, if you're unhappy with the way that I'm providing your service, then pay us back our initial investment and take the post office away. I would have been quite happy for them to do that. And I probably wouldn't have been here today on that basis. But I felt they were going to make a lesson of my case.
Of course, he was in a situation where he had tens of thousands of pounds missing, because we now know of a computer error, Nina, and he just basically said, well, stuff you.
Absolutely, and he's been fighting this for 23 years, longer than you've been alive.
Longer than I've been alive, yes.
So this is amazing, and his dedication and his perspicacity. And at the end of his testimony, I think it was 5 hours, the judge, looking at the people in the gallery, told them that they mustn't applaud because they wanted to applaud.
Yeah, this is dated footage here from when they won on their Court of Appeal 2021. So this is they're basically proving that there was something up with the Fujitsu system. But I mean, all these victories they have, they still don't see the money.
Well, this is the thing, right? The fact that the money has been delayed, and actually there might have been some issues within cabinet ministers about whether or not they should have been delaying the money and delaying the payment. I think it's really sad, and I also want to emphasise the impact on their mental health and the impact on their job prospects after that. Also being accused of something so horrendous like stealing from your employer, but also just the impact of that, and actually how much mental strength it must have taken to fight this for so long.
Some lost their lives. There was at least one suicide. There was, of course, people imprisoned. It's all very well releasing the person from prison, but they lose time and they lose mental well-being.
Get them the money now.
Yeah.
Give them all. And okay, if some people have cheated, or there are one
come
or
on,
two,
it's probably 1 or 2,
1 or
maybe.
2%. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Give them all £1 million, and that's be the end of it.
I agree.
And I actually saw on the news somebody kind of door-stopping Paula Vennells the other day.
That's
and
right,
I felt
the famous cycling incident.
Exactly.
Disguised as a cyclist, of all things now.
Dreadful, isn't it,
Dreadful.
Nothing against cyclists, of course, Jeremy. But I felt such hatred rising. I mean, it was a real visceral. I looked and I thought, oh, God.
Well, I think it'll help her to spend some time in jail. Fundamentally, when you're responsible, and a court will decide, but she needs to be prosecuted, and a couple of years inside will stop people hating her. Do you think that's right?
Well, I do think that's right, because I think if she takes her time and she does her time, effectively what it will mean is the public will see that as her then having...
That's how the system works.
Exactly, it's how the system works. I also think it's so interesting because this is such a classic case of government failure, and how many other scandals, failures have we seen across history where we haven't seen that compensation? The right thing hasn't happened. Well, I'm really glad now that actually this is happening and actually people are waking up to it.
I don't know, because there's now talk that actually the government was quietly thinking, can we shift this till after the election?
Yes, that's exactly
and
what
leave
they're
it till the next government, whoever they are.
That's exactly
do you
what they're
think,
doing.
Speaking of Bates and so on, I mean, I don't know whether he should be knighted for this. Do you think?
I think so. I think some kind of honour for doing what he did, because let's be honest, 23 years fighting a battle against what was effectively a government-owned operation, where you end up sort of coming against the government, but also the mental strain and the mental strength that it must have taken to actually do that. Again, as you said, people had lost their lives as a result of it, being accused of such a horrendous act.
Is he right in saying you should just sell it to Amazon?
I think privatisation of most of those kind of organisations means that they're actually accountable to people, right?
But look, we privatised water and now we're swimming in sewage.
Well, water's interesting.
What, are they going to start delivering sewage through the post, or what if that happens?
Well, so what happens effectively, with Thames Water, it's a government-created monopoly that moved into the private sector. With things like the post office, you need competition. The reason why privatisation works is because people get to make choices. With Thames Water, we don't have that.
Okay.
That's a very sweeping statement, and I really take issue with, especially over Thames Water, because they've
Well,
just
water generally.
the water generally, but Thames Water in particular, because that affects us basically.
Well, hang
it's
on
the
a minute,
largest.
it affects lots of you. I mean, there's water, there's poo up and down the country.
Well, our rivers are just sewers.
It's disgusting.
Our rivers are sewers, and our seas are sewers.
But this is the problem. People are now saying, well, what should happen is the government should bail them out. And that is incredibly difficult, because what will happen is if the government bails out a company like Thames Water, it signals to every water company that risky behaviour is rewarded. You get bailed out by
I
taxpayers.
hear you, but that doesn't stop us saying it was a mistake to privatise monopolies. I mean, we can maybe agree. I don't know. I know this is, but was it wrong to privatise British Rail?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
No.
Well, their trains were late and the sandwiches were horrible.
Have they really been privatised though? Governments still pick which companies get to choose
All right.
those legs.
Okay,
the thing
we
is,
should
it's
move on.
profits before people. It's people with their snout in the trough taking money out.
The Economist
Absolutely
disagrees.
untrue.
Remember, she knows about economics. Nina. Before we move on, we just want to see, at least, we don't have to hear it again, but the Vennells. This is Vennells escaping from a church disguised as a cyclist.
In terms of the public inquiry.
There we are. And we mentioned our colleague Alex Thompson, who is a brilliant reporter, who actually was the one who thought, I'm going to go and catch her on the move. We'll see what happens there. No, not prejudging anything there.
And the thing is that she's supposed to be a Christian, a church, humanity, etc., etc.
Well, she was nearly a candidate for Bishop of London. I mean, at that point. I know. She was on the list.
That's mental.
Nina in The Guardian.
Yes.
The Swiss climate activist.